Ricky and Rachel were twins who always enjoyed watching detective movies. Ever since they were young, they went around the house with their toy magnifying glasses, looking for lost things, and sure enough, they found them. After all, it was they themselves who had hidden those things. One day, a real chance came for them to use their detective skills. They said it was a sign from God, because now their cat Chicky went missing. Their parents gave up looking for it, but not them. They used all the tricks they had learned, and later found that their cat had entered a small space, maybe to hunt mice during its tour outside. But someone had placed a box at the exit, making it impossible for Chicky to come out. They rescued their cat, and from then on, their parents called them heroes. 10 years later, when the twins were 16, they returned home from their dormitory after 3 months at school and found out that their beloved neighbor had been missing for 2 months. The police had found all leads cold and dropped the case. Rachel ran to her brother right away, telling him the two of them could locate Mrs. Jenkins. With their knowledge of detecting, Ricky refused, at first telling her that was when they were still young. Now, they were too old to play detective games. But Rachel didn't give up. She insisted, reminding him this wasn't a game. This was Mrs. Jenkins' real life. After some time, Ricky agreed, and the twins began their detective work. They first went around asking all the neighbors about Mrs. Jenkins, hoping someone knew something they didn't. But all they heard was the same thing, known for years. Mrs. Jenkins was a quiet, unassuming woman who lived alone in the small house next door. She was known for her love of gardening and baking, and neighbors often commented on the delicious smells wafting from her kitchen. She was a wonderful neighbor. But then, one day, she just vanished. Ricky snuck into the police station while Rachel distracted Jameson, the officer who had worked on the case. Ricky looked into the files and found that the police had checked Mrs. Jenkins' house, which was empty and silent. Her car was still parked in the driveway, and her purse and phone were still on the kitchen counter. Jameson had interviewed the neighbors, but no one had any information. They all described her as friendly but private, and no one had noticed anything suspicious on the day she went missing. But the twins found a detail the police had missed. There was a neighbor who hadn't been home during the investigation, but who had seen a strange person lurking around Mrs. Jenkins' house before she disappeared. The description was vague, but the twins followed it up. They spent the next few days canvassing the neighborhood, showing the description to everyone they met, as if they were looking for a missing cat. Jameson paid them a visit and told them to stop whatever they were doing because it could be dangerous. But the twins weren't deterred. Finally, one person recognized the young woman with a messy bun and a tattoo on her arm. They tracked down the woman, whose name was Sarah. When they asked her about Mrs. Jenkins, she seemed nervous and fidgety, but the twins couldn't quite put their fingers on why. Sarah claimed to have been a friend of Mrs. Jenkins and said she had visited her on the day she disappeared. But as the twins pressed her for more details, she became increasingly evasive, threatened to report them to the authorities if they continued disturbing her. The twins agreed not to disturb her again, but asked about the tattoo on her arm. She quickly covered it up. Their instincts told them Sarah was hiding something. They decided to dig deeper into her background, and what they found shocked them both. Sarah had a history of manipulation and deception. She had been involved in several scams and cons, and had even served time in prison for identity theft. The twins were convinced Sarah was involved in Mrs. Jenkins' disappearance. But how and why? One day, they decided to break into Mrs. Jenkins' house to see if they could find something the police had missed. Rachel brought up the plan. Ricky refused at first, but eventually agreed. Inside, they discovered a hidden safe. Inside it, they found a note that read, "If you see this, it means you are about to find Mrs. Jenkins. Meet me at the old oak tree at midnight. Come alone. Don't tell anyone." The note was unsigned, but the twins had a feeling it was from Sarah. They told Jameson about it, and the three of them went to stake out the old oak tree, hoping to catch Sarah in the act. As they waited in the darkness, Jameson's mind raced with possibilities. Then they heard a rustling in the bushes. A figure emerged in their hearts, skipped a beat as they recognized Sarah, but to their surprise, she wasn't alone. A second figure emerged from the shadows, and they all realized they had underestimated the complexity of the case. The second figure was none other than Mrs. Jenkins herself. Their eyes widened as they watched the two women interact. It turned out Mrs. Jenkins and Sarah were not just acquaintances, but partners in a long con scheme. Mrs. Jenkins had staged her own disappearance to avoid detection, and Sarah had been helping her cover her tracks. But why? As Jameson closed in, the two women revealed their plan. Mrs. Jenkins had been scamming her neighbors for years, taking advantage of their kindness and generosity. But when she got too close to being caught, she faked her disappearance to throw everyone off her trail. Jameson and the twins were stunned. They had never seen a case like this before. Jameson arrested both women and brought them in for further questioning. He thanked the twins, and a party was thrown in the town square in their honor. He handed them medals, but warned them never to do something so dangerous again until they were old enough. As he reflected on the case, Jameson realized that sometimes the most unlikely suspects hold the key to solving a mystery, and he couldn't help but wonder what other secrets lay hidden in the neighborhood, waiting to be uncovered. Drop a heart if you want more mysteries like this. Subscribe to support the channel. Comment your favorite part or your theory before the twist.